let's mention about calcium today. A reminder, no need to murder for calcium or anything else. Basically, there are healthier plant-based alternatives, and we should eat and live as nature intended, which is plant-based, because we are the healthiest when we consume plant-based as great apes. So let's look at some food items. Some of them, as a vegan, I don't count them as food items, but I just wrote them here. And we will look at the oxalate content and calcium content per milligram calorie and calcium content per cup, and oxalate density per calorie and per calcium content. And then eventually we will try to figure out, as a vegan, if you wanted to maximize your calcium intake, which I don't recommend looking at nutrition and nutrition experts. They don't recommend looking at single particular nutrients, let's say calcium or magnesium, etc., other things, and try to maximize them. Of course, this is not. I'm not recommending that, but this video is intended for people who are worried about their calcium intake as a vegan, because many, the advertisements by the livestock industry unfortunately brainwash people to believe that they can get protein only from animal products and they can get enough calcium only from again, animal products, especially dairy. And this is not true, of course. So just to ease your conscience, I just prepared this video. So then we will just try to calculate how many cups from each vegan plant-based items you can eat to have here, let's say 1300 milligrams of calcium per day. And here the minimum recommended dose daily intake is 525 milligrams of calcium per day, and above that you don't get any health benefits. No health benefits about no stronger bones or anything. So about this you probably just make your kidneys work harder and calcify. Excess calcium causes many other problems in your contributes to plaque formation, unhealthy arteries, unhealthy kidneys, etc. So this is recommended for, I think this is for adults, not pregnancy. So during pregnancy you need to have a little bit more. So I'm just doing this as an adult male who is not pregnant or anything. So this is for me. So I just calculate this for myself, and you can just adjust these numbers. This is Excel, so if you are familiar with Excel, you can just go and do this for yourself. And there is 2000 calories per day around. If you exercise more, you need more calories, and that will increase the possibility of having more calcium, fitting more calcium into your daily intake. And I am assuming that per meal you can have 3 cups, and 3 cups is a stomach volume, and 3 meals per day, in total 9 cups a day. And of course the calcium absorption is a very complex process. Intake of magnesium might intervene, compete with the intake of calcium. Your vitamin D levels play an important role, and age, sex, etc. Many things play So it's a complex process that they can't model very correctly, but we know that oxalate in food items is one of the main things that might inhibit or reduce the absorption of calcium, and that's why I also listed oxalate here. And there are other things as well, but most importantly they say that it is oxalate content, as far as I know. And if your vitamin D levels are okay, which you should get from sunshine, they say, okay, I don't want to go into too much details here to keep the video short, but you can go to nutritionfacts.org to learn about these, about vitamin B12 intake, how vitamin D intake from not intake, but getting it from the sun exposure, how many minutes, etc. You can just learn from here all kinds of things about nutrition. So let's dive into it. We have spinach, high oxalate, kale, parsley, okra, etc. So let's look at this. The column G, this shows the oxalate content per calorie, and also the F column is also showing oxalate content per milligram of calcium. So again, this oxalate is milligram per milligram of calcium. Spinach has high oxalate content. Also, chard has very high oxalate content. So they don't recommend eating spinach or chard for calcium. If you want to increase your calcium intake, they don't recommend spinach or chard. Let's say that from spinach, they say you might get just 5% to as low as 5% of the calcium in the spinach. But of course, the oxalate, when you boil the vegetables, when you boil the spinach, the oxalate washes into the water, and if you get rid of the water, you can reduce the oxalate content and you can absorb more calcium, etc. But I'm guessing that probably calcium also washes into water a little bit, but I don't know that much in detail. But if I want to increase calcium intake, just to make sure, I will try other items, right? That's why here, when I calculated in cups, I excluded spinach and chard because they have lower absorption rates. The next is kale, and kale here uh, uh, wins in terms of calcium per calorie. Here you can look at the column H. It has the highest calcium per calorie, and it doesn't have much oxalate. So kale is quite good, which is unfortunate because we don't have this in our region. In my region, we don't have kale. But we have parsley, which is the next one. So calcium per calorie, it has good ranking, and low oxalate as well. But we can't eat too much parsley. I mean, carbs and carb is not a meal. It can be a condiment or let's see, like spice kind of thing. And okra is also quite high in calcium content per calorie, and it is relatively low in oxalate. Here, low in oxalate. And then chard, as I said, high oxalate content, so I wouldn't trust it. I won't rely on it for calcium. And then animal abuse products, which is dairy products like feta cheese, whole milk, cheddar cheese, etc. And let's check. So they ranked relatively high for calcium per calorie, for calcium per calorie, although they are lower than chard and okra and all these others about them. Um, Per cup, cheese, feta cheese, cheddar cheese, these cheeses per cup calcium content, they rank the highest. But let me remind you that these are processed foods. So here P represents processed. You can see here unhealthy products of abuse and murder, first of all, and they are processed to modify their nutritional nutrient concentrations, right? So naturally, there is milk is natural. Well, it's not natural for humans to drink cow's milk or another animal's milk. You know, you can just drink your own mother's milk when you're a baby. That is natural. But whole milk in its natural form is not much different per cup than other plant food items. Let's say dried figs or tahini even beats them quite. You know, tahini is close to cheese actually. Flax seeds or almonds, or let's say here, uh, skip the spinach, let's say kale or okra, etc. So uh, they can, you know, compete. Um, okay, so let's go to, so just saying this, and let me just uh, tell this here that bone broth. Many people think that if you just boil bones and make bone broth, you will get lots of calcium because bones are made of calcium, right, and other minerals and some proteins, right? So this can't be any further away from truth. That if you drink bone broth, basically you can see that how low it is uh, at the ranking. Um, it's almost as close as oat and steak, which many non-vegans claim that it is the most nutrient-dense food on the planet. It meats, uh, beef, whatever, no, cow flesh. It ranks lowest here with the within the examined food items. I mean, I didn't put it chicken or anything, but I just uh, you know, you can do it if you want. I don't expect it to be much different from the cow flesh or fish. Actually, I could just examine them, but you know, I'm just doing this for non-vegans right now. You know, as a vegan, I know you are saying if a vegan is watching this, you are saying, "What are you doing? They're not food. Why are you feeling need to examine?" I'm just trying to look at from, you know, non-vegan perspective right now to convince convince them uh, that they don't need animal products for calcium. And eggs here also, I mean, low in calcium, right? You shouldn't be expecting uh, to increase your calcium levels by eating eggs. High in cholesterol, very high in cholesterol, and you know, very unhealthy, very cruel. Uh, if you want to watch about the cruelty, go to watchdominion.com and watch it. What goes in the egg industry? Basically, they murder day-old baby chicks, male baby chicks, and the dairy industry, they basically murder weeks-old male cows because they're not profitable in the dairy industry, and then they murder the mothers at 5 or 6 years old when their milk production declines, when they in fact can live uh, up to 20, 25 years old. So like 1/5 of their lifespan they are being murdered as a child almost, you know. Okay, so here optimization, I will show you also in Excel how you can do it. The optimization, you go to data, and you click on solver. If it is not here, you can just add from somewhere, um, some extensions or something like that. But it should be here, I think. I'm not sure really. Okay, then just add, figure out how to add solver here. You can Google, and then you just set objective, which is maximizing the calcium intake, which is K. In K column, it is K26 here, the total of all the calcium here. Okay, let me also show you how I did this. Maybe you might want to do it. So basically, um, calcium times calcium content per cup over food item times the cups, how many cups you are eating from it, equals the calcium amount from that item, food item, right? And if you sum all the food items here, which is the sum of K4 to K25, all these food items, the calcium from them, you get the total calcium. So we are trying to maximize this. And similarly, you can do the calories, similarly, multiplying the columns. Oops. Okay. So let me just go here. Uh, because I'm vegan, I don't count animal products as food. I just delete it here. I'm not going to calculate them. I will just show you as a vegan that you can get at least 1,300 milligrams of calcium per day without any problems. Okay, then you just go. You can put some constraints. Let's say kale here. I just put 0, I think, because it's not in my region. I think this is like specific for me actually. You can do it for yourself. Because I don't have kale in my region, I put it 0. And parsley, I said maybe I can eat quarter of a cup per day. And okra, I love it, and I can eat 2 cups per day, no problems. Chard, I didn't put it because it has oxalate. And then chia seeds, let's say similarly, chia seeds 1/5 of a cup per day I can eat. Let's say it's like 3 tablespoons per day. And broccoli 2 cups per day. Mulberry 0 because we don't have it here. And oranges 2 cups per day I can eat, within 3 meals. And all kinds of, so I just set the maximum amount that I can eat per day, and then you can use different methods for maximizing the calcium intake. And you just press solve, and it should say that it found a solution. If it says it didn't find a solution, that means that you put the cups minimum, so it can't satisfy the calorie intake, right? So make sure if you encounter a problem, just increase the cups. Instead of 1 cup, make it 2 cups, etc. So here you go. Just with this thing, you get 1,300. Maybe even there might be other combinations of these foods that can even be higher. Let's say you just you don't want to eat a varied diet. You just want to focus on calcium. So instead of 2 cups of oranges and 1.5 cups of navy beans, you just eat all okra, which is uh, or like more, let's say, per cup. Which one is dense per cup? Let's say chia seeds. You just ate lots of, like, 2 cups of chia seeds. I don't recommend that. It can be dangerous, but you can. It would be like eating cheese or something. It's also dangerous, right? So in the long term, so chia seeds, you can just eat lots of chia seeds. It has similar calcium density to even to cheese or tahini, etc. And then you can get much higher calcium uh, intake per day. I didn't calculate how much because it doesn't make sense to eat that much chia seeds, or I'm just talking about a balanced diet, like a variety of things you can eat, um, and you easy, like this is realistic, right? And then you just get this much calcium per day. Okay, so if you want to know about these things, go to nutritionfacts.org and definitely watch Dominion documentary, watchdominion.com. And this here, I didn't even account for the absorption, as I said, but uh, broccoli here has double the absorption rates compared to dairy. So here we just said milk, cheese, etc. It has a higher, right, here per cup, but because the absorption is much lower than broccoli, actually, if you just put some absorption values, uh, they will be uh, this will be 600, let's say. If you halve this, feta cheese will be 600 milligram of calcium per cup, and this will be broccoli will be 63 uh, per cup. Still quite a lot of difference, but I'm just trying to say that the absorption rate can vary a lot. So this is not absolute. So these values, calcium per cup, it doesn't mean that you are consuming this much. It doesn't mean that you are absorbing it, right? And as I said, right now they don't have enough information about to calculate how much is being absorbed exactly, etc. That's why we are just calculating just the intakes. Okay, thank you very much for listening, and I hope this was helpful. So you shouldn't be concerned about calcium anymore. Just eat. I mean, there are, I'm sure, many other plant-based food items that you can just incorporate into your meals, and they're high in calcium. I didn't examine them here, but you can do it yourself. Just go to chronometer.com and calculate them. Okay, and see you in another episode, another video.